Today, we're talking about women's health, specifically perimenopause and menopause, and how nutrition can support you through this change. Welcome back to the Begin Within Health show. I am way out of my depth on this one today, this topic. As you can guess, I know very little. And so I have one of my good friends and one of our returning guests, Amanda Zagrodnik, coming on the show here. I got to interview her as a holistic nutritionist. How does she approach supporting women through perimenopause and menopause using nutrition? When should hormone testing come into play? What is that process like? And what are some ways that you can make sure that you get the support you need? One of the things that I took away from this conversation was that menopause sometimes gets labeled simply as a women's health matter. It certainly is so much more than that, especially when it comes to the far reaching implications in their total health and quality of life, as well as the ways that their loved ones can support them through this process. Let's dive into my interview with Amanda Zagrodnik. She is the owner of Integrative Health and Wellness. She's a holistic nutritionist, and she's going to help me through this topic as I certainly put my foot in my mouth and tiptoe around things uncomfortably. She's going to help me out.
I'm a holistic nutritionist, so I work with clients symptom-based all the time, and in my practice, I work with a lot of women specifically, and oftentimes I see them coming in feeling frustrated, feeling confused, um, feeling tired, gaining weight, even though they're doing everything they should be, exercise, diet, all the things, not sleeping well, feeling more anxious, brain fog. And the frustration is they're often also told all their labs look normal and to just kind of accept these symptoms as a normal part of aging.
Okay. I said this before when we've talked about this, but
Yeah.
I will probably, if I say things wrong, like I'm not I won't be I won't be right on. So if you need to correct me, like go ahead. Like as far as like me not being sensitive enough to the way that I phrase things, I'm trying to
Sure.
understand and learn. And
Yeah.
probably for me and any of the husbands and
Yeah.
significant others out there of women who this is either happening or in the future, I want to try to help get as much from you as I can that will help us to support the people that we love. So
I actually love that you're saying that because something that we focus on when supporting menopause from like the practitioner side is also the support team at home. And you just touched on a really great point that there's not a lot of information out there. So a lot of men probably feel the exact same way you do. So thank you for saying that. But
oh yeah. No,
I think
absolutely.
this conversation will help both sides of the table.
I hope so. I think that I mean this is health, right? And this is a large percentage of our population. This is
Yeah.
an area of health that affects all of us in one
Mm-hmm.
way or another. So understanding it and trying to help support both through nutrition, medically, whatever, as well as emotionally and socially is going to be important. Um, yeah, I was thinking recently too, as I was prepping to talk with you, you know, like throughout history, life expectancies were way lower than what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
So it got me thinking that this attention, while menopause is not a new thing, it's probably how many other times in history have has it been a part of every woman's journey? Whereas
Oh,
before,
exactly.
right, when life expectancies are shorter, it's we're not getting there. It's not happening.
That's a good point too. Of course, everyone's lifespan is different, but it is estimated that perimenopause or menopause takes up about 40% of a woman's lifespan. And so you're touching on that right
Wow.
now. I mean, and especially as we are able to live longer, that percentage increases, obviously.
Yeah. So this is like about half of somebody's life
Yeah,
that
almost.
if we can maximize our health during this time, it's going to make a huge difference. Okay. So
Absolutely.
what are some of the and I know you touched on some of the symptoms. Are there others that maybe are like overlooked? Or I know you gave us kind of a list there, and if you want to go back through some of
Yeah.
um
Yeah, some of the top symptoms that women feel coming in are typically feeling tired, not sleeping well at night, gut issues, maybe some bloating, stomach aches every day. Um, and the big one that I see a lot is the inability to lose weight. Even if they're doing everything right, a lot of times women will start to feel like all of a sudden there's an inner tube around my midsection, or that didn't used to be there, or maybe if I used to up my exercise, it would decrease, and they're finding that midsection body fat or just weight in general is becoming more stubborn, even to efforts that would have worked 10 years ago.
okay. So at this point, um I mean, just imagine that I know nothing about this, which is probably pretty close to reality. What's behind that? It's because it's not just like, oh, you need to eat less. You're eating
Sure.
you're eating too many chips. Like there's there's something else happening. So what's behind it?
Absolutely. Well, so I'm a nutritionist. So, what I start with in my practice is I focus on nutrition, lifestyle, and targeted supplements. And I do this because hormones don't operate in isolation. The body is a system. All of our systems are deeply connected. So, our sex hormones are connected to our gut health, to our stress response, to inflammation, to detox pathways, and to our nutrient status if you have any vitamin or mineral deficiencies. So, some things that I focus on individually with clients, number one with everyone, blood sugar metabolism. So, stabilizing blood sugar. And this is a really simple tip that everyone should be following, man or woman, adult or child, but prioritizing protein and fiber at each meal. And then I'll individualize that to each client, specific meal timing if it's needed, and specific foods. But prioritizing protein and fiber can really help to support blood sugar and insulin production, which is critical when your hormones are shifting. And then
Yep.
some other things, so supporting cortisol. And as a nutritionist, I look at food as medicine. So I love to look at specific foods that my clients can incorporate to support something like cortisol. So think fatty fish, like salmon, can actually help to reduce inflammation and promote healthy adrenal function, i.e., cortisol. Um,
Wow.
and then gut health is another item I touched on. And some foods that can help promote gut health are fermented foods like sauerkraut and kimchi, which I find for some, I love it. I find for some women aren't their favorite. And, I kind of joke, I'm a normal Wisconsinite. I didn't start eating sauerkraut until honestly about a year or two ago when I was working to support my hormones. And now I'm a big fan, but I help people, get it in and find ways to start to try it out at least. And then kefir, that's another popular one. Dairy kefir or coconut kefir has probiotics in it and is a really great way to nutritionally support gut health.
Mm, okay.
Some other things to think about is during perimenopause and menopause, nutrient depletion. So there's
Okay.
key nutrients or vitamins and minerals that can often start to deplete or decrease during this time. It's always good to have it tested, but when it comes to foods that you can incorporate, it's really healthy to incorporate those even without testing. So things like leafy greens. So kale, spinach, they're rich in magnesium, and that's one of the key nutrients that's depleted during this time. B vitamins and omega 3s. and vitamin D all fall into that category of nutrients to look out for too. So I'll work with my clients on specific foods that can help to target those areas and uh, bring their levels up, hopefully.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, I did like the sauerkraut fist pump. I've been starting the day with sauerkraut.
I love it.
I don't know. I'm
Huh,
like I
iffy.
I don't know that I feel that much different, but it's just from this show and having so many guests on who talk about fermented foods and gut
Yep.
health, and I'm like, I am checking the box 0 times on fermented foods in my
Yeah.
regular. So I'm like, all right. So we get sauerkraut now. Amanda just
I
asked
love
me. My
that.
wife Amanda, which
Yeah.
anyone listening, same name, don't freak out, right? Um, she was like, "Do we need
I
more
learned
sauerkraut?
that
Do we need
I
more
learned
sauerkraut?"
that about 15 years ago when we were working together,
Yeah.
and you wrote your wife's name down as, like, a pretend client. I was like, "That's my name." You're like, "No, it's my wife's name."
Oh, so confusing, right? So yeah, she was like,
It's
"Do we need
sour.
more sauerkraut?" It's like that's a household conversation now. How's the
I love it.
sauerkraut levels?
How do you eat it?
I
With
just eat it
eggs
like
or
I just plop some from the jar onto my plate with whatever, egg, usually with eggs and
Sure,
whatever else is happening. So then I
that's
have my
great.
bowl of yogurt, yogurt and berries on the side as well. So
Love it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. We talked about hormones. I'm
Mhm.
curious about uh hormone testing
Yeah.
because um so far, and tell me if I'm wrong here in our conversation, we're talking about just kind of, all right, this is what's happening, this is what you're experiencing, and the time frame of your life lines up with the fact that your hormones are changing.
Mhm.
So, and I don't mean you specifically, I just mean our
Okay.
client, right?
Yes.
um so probably this is what's happening, and let's try this, let's try that. More than likely this is going to help support your hormones. But when does testing come in? How does that look for you in your practice?
That's a really good question, and different practitioners might feel different. But I like to bring testing in when symptoms for an individual are persistent or more complex. So, and I'll typically bring in something like the Dutch test, which is a functional hormone test. And the reason for testing is insight. It helps us have confirmation of what's going on, not just symptom based, but through numbers, and just insight into progesterone, estrogen, how they're actually being metabolized. So that is the difference in Dutch testing versus when you go to your doctor and have a blood test done for hormones. We're going to look at cortisol patterns and adrenals, androgen levels, so testosterone and other related items. And that helps me as the nutritionist personalize the plan. That's where I get really nerdy because there's certain foods that you can incorporate if cortisol's high versus if cortisol's low, and so on and so forth. So that helps us really just take the approach to the next level. And sometimes clients come to me right away in that category ready to test, that they're already frustrated enough, their symptoms are severe, they've been doing a lot already, and so in those cases, we'll test right off the bat.
Okay. Do you mind kind of just explaining what that test, what's the process like for,
Yeah.
like, if someone shows up, hey, I want to do this test, what happens?
So, I love the Dutch test because it's not a blood test, so it's actually really easy collection. Um, it's urine. So
Okay.
it's a urine sample at home. There's test strips that you take during certain hours of the day. And then if we add on an adrenal panel like cortisol, then there's saliva tests that you'll take at certain hours of the day for a 24-hour period. So really easy collection, which is super nice. I order the test, it gets delivered to your doorstep. And then depending on where a woman is in perimenopause or menopause, I will guide them on what time of the month, if that's applicable, of when to test. And really simple. You package it back up. It's got prepaid shipping and send it in the
Wow.
mail and get the results in about 2 weeks usually.
Okay. Wow. All right. So yeah, when I said like ignorance, blew
Yes.
my mind there. That's awesome.
The testing is great, and the thing I love about Dutch is there's a lot of different panel offerings, so I also will personalize that based on where a woman is in the transition, because there's certain times that it's not gonna be extremely valid anymore to be looking at estrogen and progesterone, so we get to make individualized selections there as well.
Got it. So is it it's just like a different different strip for a different thing that we're looking for and
That's a good question. I think the collection is the same, it's just that when I order the test, they'll only measure certain metabolites. Part of the panel that's really interesting is going to look at, like, different vitamin precursors and, brain, like, neuroinflammation precursors too that are all related to the hormonal changes and symptoms that can come from perimenopause and menopause.
wow.
And
Okay.
Nate, this is a test that men can do as well. I have plenty of male clients who have done the Dutch test.
You read my mind. I was gonna ask about that.
Well,
Okay. Man, that might be a whole nother conversation.
absolutely.
Ah, okay. Cool. Or maybe after run with our main conversation. You could tell me a little bit about it.
I would love that.
Sidebar. Um, okay, so I want to make sure that we have some time to talk about the retreat that you have arranged, that
Yeah.
you've planned and set up. So what what inspired you to put this together? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I would love to. So I created the Pause and the Power. It's a women's wellness retreat. This year it's going to be held at Blue Harbor Resort in Sheboygan, Wisconsin in March. So Friday, March 13th and Saturday, March 14th of 2026. The reason I put this event together is I have been seeing the same gaps come in and out of my office. Women are just really struggling through perimenopause and menopause, feeling unsupported, overwhelmed, dismissed, uneducated. And this season of life or transition, it deserves support and education and community. And that's kind of where the event came in. I wanted to create a space where women felt that they could just take a moment, learn what's happening in their body, and leave feeling empowered and like they have real tools that they can apply in their day-to-day life.
Nice. Nice. And I know that while nutrition is your area of expertise, you've worked to kind of have a holistic uh group of supporters there. Why do you feel like that's such an important aspect of menopause, perimenopause?
That part I'm so proud of because, yes, I focus on nutrition and supplementation, which I think is, of course, very important. But, perimenopause and menopause are a multi system transition, and no one practitioner should, really address it alone. So, what I did was I got together a group of other area experts in key women's health areas. Some examples and some people that are actually going to be giving presentations are a chiropractor to talk about spinal health, nervous system, um, pain, but also posture changes that can happen in midlife
Mm.
that you may not think
Okay.
about. Massage therapist who specifically is going to be talking about lymphatic drainage for inflammation, circulation, and also talking about skincare and skin health. And last but definitely not least, in the realm of women's health, is a pelvic floor physical therapist who's going to be talking about core strength, bladder health, pelvic pain, intimacy, and posture. And kind of a bonus part of the retreat that's optional for attendees is yoga. And yoga is important for mobility, nervous system balance, and even just mind body connection. So that's going to be kind of a fun part for all of us to
Okay.
do together.
Nice. Nice work there. What do you hope that people leave? from the retreat with that they didn't have beforehand?
My goal is not that women come in feeling like they have to fix themselves, but more so come out with an understanding of what's going on. So I want women to leave feeling supported, feeling like they're not alone, they're part of a community, and feeling like they've learned tangible skills and tools that they can apply to help support this transitional phase of their life.
Nice. Awesome. And how does someone how can they get access to get enrolled, to get set up?
The best question. They can actually visit my website, integrativewi.com/retreat, or look for the retreat tab on the website. And you can also look at my social. On Instagram, I have a link tree link um, to the retreat page.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank
And I'll
you.
make sure that it's linked up here with the this episode as well. Um, before I let you go, I'll put you on the spot a little bit
Love it.
and ask this. Like if somebody's listening and they're like think everything's like, yes, this is where I'm at. I think this is
Mhm.
me. But they are not in a place to they they're not ready to reach out for more.
Sure.
What would you recommend as like the best thing for them to focus on just for starters, like to begin shifting this in a positive way for themselves?
I love it. I'll give a couple things. So, number one is that blood sugar metabolism that we talked about. So, prioritizing lean protein and fiber at every meal. You can even think pair produce with protein every single time
Yeah.
you eat. That helps to increase your fruits and veggies too. And that's going to support your blood sugar metabolism. Everyone of all ages should be doing that, but especially once your sex hormones start to shift, it becomes a little bit more critical. And then thinking about some of those hormone-specific foods to incorporate. So I personally, I incorporate kimchi or sauerkraut every day at breakfast, and I love to add coconut kefir into my smoothies in the afternoon to help support gut health and hormones. And then aiming to have, if you eat salmon or mackerel, those are two great fatty fish, even once or twice a week. Really great way to help support inflammation and hormones.
Okay. Awesome. Wow. You know what I love about your approach is how I would use the word practical. Like just simple, tell us what to do. You're very good at just boiling that down. So thank you for
I
being
appreciate
here.
that.
In the Begin Within Health show, we'll have the details for the retreat sign up with this episode in the show notes. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Like I mentioned, the link for you to get more information and get signed up for her upcoming retreat, if you're listening at the time of this podcast original release, those details are in the show notes. The link is there if you didn't get it already. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, you might enjoy my conversation, my earlier conversation with her on episode 23. We talked about uh, the answer to this question: is your food causing inflammation? That episode early on in our episode catalog was kind of a crash course on inflammation and, of course, nutritional components of it. We also talked back on episode 49. Amanda is a mother, a busy mother, and we talked about the best mindset for healthy parenting. I remember in that conversation, she shared some really great tips, really practical tips, just like she did in our interview today, that parents can use in supporting their children and themselves with good health, even though life is wild at times. So go check those out. Episode 23 on inflammation, episode 49 on the mindset for healthy parenting. Links in the show notes. Once again, hey, before you go, I want to thank you so much for being somebody who is interested in becoming the best version of yourself. If you would be so kind as to rate and review the podcast, subscribe or follow it on YouTube or in your podcast player, and leave me a comment if it's a review, if it's a topic you'd like me to cover in the future, or if it's just to say hi. Hey, Nate, great to meet you. Do that. Just even those comments help others who are interested in improving their health to find this show. Thanks so much for doing that. I appreciate you, and I will talk with you again soon. Until then, keep taking good care of yourself.